how long do you think you've known Mr. Wallstatter?
He was a student here, and he played basketball for me.
Was he on the varsity team?
No, I was the junior varsity coach, and so it's been at least 25 years.
What was he like as your student?
Really good kid. The kids on the team just liked him. He was loved basketball, loved sports. Real happy kind of guy.
What was your first reaction when you heard about his condition?
Just devastation. I've had some friends that have had ALS and had to see what they went through. And I'm hoping there's a better situation for him.
Is there any, like, when you think about Mr. Wallstatter, like, throughout the day, does it, like, bother you in any way, or?
Well, anytime, being a father myself and a grandfather, anytime you have children involved, that's probably one of the toughest things. Adults can handle it and handle situations, but when kids are small, they don't understand. And the ramifications of all this on them it can be devastating. Yes, they have a lot of support, and it's going to be it's a difficult road for a child to have to follow.
Are you close with the Wallstatter family?
No, not really. I mean, we don't hang out together, but if I see him in town like I do, we sure say hi, and it's good to see Adam and his family.
Stop, right?
DNA plays different tunes, basically, is that it's decoded into long linear strings of amino acids based upon the sequence of nucleotides in the DNA. So here are two very different proteins that are being made by this different parts of the DNA. And in order for those proteins to function, they have to fold up into these incredibly intricate, complicated shapes. This is hemoglobin here, the protein that's involved in carrying oxygen around in our blood. And this protein over here is green fluorescent protein. It's a wonderfully useful tool in biology. It actually comes from a jellyfish, but it has this lovely property of glowing green when you shine blue light on it. And we use it as a tool, as you'll see a little bit later in the talk. But you can imagine that it's kind of complicated for these proteins to fold up into these shapes. But the problem becomes much, much greater inside the crazy environment of a living cell, where the concentration of other proteins is about 300 milligrams per mil.
Dementia is a terrible disease. It's hard to see somebody that you love lose their mind. Forget who you are, forget those loved ones around them, forget their kids, their grandkids. Yeah, I've experienced it firsthand with my mother. I dealt with her condition with a dose of sarcasm and some comedy, and tried to make every day kind of light. When dealing with just caring for somebody who's sick and aged, and kind of forgetting life and just telling her stories to remind her of how life used to be, and trying to get a smile on her face, because sometimes I think she knew what was going on and she'd tear up. And so I bring back funny stories about growing up, and stories about when she was a little girl that she had told me. Oh, it had affected us in a lot of ways. My mom always offered to babysit her grandkids, but we couldn't leave her alone, so we couldn't very well leave the kids with her. You know, it affected me in a personal way when there were times in my life that I wanted to go talk to my mom, and I couldn't because my mom physically was there, but mentally was not. Not a change, I guess, so much. I guess we came together more. My dad and my siblings and I, and even my kids and my nieces and nephews came together to take care of Grandma, to watch Grandma and entertain her, play games with her, try and stimulate the mind. And that worked for several years. And then not so much. How did some other family members deal with it? Well, some dealt with it better than others. I remember my immediate family was my mom, my dad, my brother, 2 sisters, and myself. My dad, my oldest sister, and myself were primary caregivers for Mom. And the first time she forgot who we were, it was tough. I cried. When it happened to my sister, she cried. And then Mom reversed roles on us and started calling us by the other one's name. And we just started to roll with it. And it was just the nature of the illness. And I think it was tough for others who didn't see her on a day-to-day basis when she would forget. But, you know, we learned to just make light of things and make Mom comfortable, try to, you know, maybe jog her memory, you know, with photos. We'd play board games and Yahtzee and tried to stimulate things, and but it affected everybody differently, and it's a tough and hard disease to watch.